I have a negative number right now on EWEB trust.
Okay. I just would let you know that I'll be more nervous and maybe not as comfortable in the conversation, but
That's fine. But
I'm not going to say no, but my preference would be that you not.
Okay. Well, I don't know where you want to start.
So I'll really let you just kind of take us on the experience you've had, and I'd like to see, especially if you have equipment that's not working for you, I'd be really interested in seeing that.
Well, the garage door opener's not working. This is a new one that I have put in.
Okay.
I don't have the physical energy right now to do that. The big refrigerator here went out, and it's full of mold right now, which is a very bad thing for a Lyme patient. It needs to get out of the house, and it needs to be replaced.
Are you using an alternative refrigeration
This
right
is
now?
a little refrigerator here that goes on my sailboat.
Oh, okay.
And so I dug it out. It's new. And using it, and then we'll go in the garage. I've got a backup fridge out there because I grow my own poultry, turkey, and chicken. So I have those for that. So I'm using this little tiny thing right now. The reason that we bought this for me with the freezer on the bottom is I have spinal fusions, and bending over is really hard. And living with this right now is not ideal. So we got to get this fridge replaced. Matthew has numbers on this, quotes and stuff, and just will improve it. So I've had problems with the stove. Sometimes it runs, sometimes it doesn't. It'll come on sometimes, it'll shut down sometimes.
So I see the digital clock is working. Is the internal elements working at this point?
They are at times, but they're intermittent.
Okay.
So I don't. Here's one of the outlets that we took out of the wall when the electrician came out. You can see how burnt the wires are.
I'm not wearing my glasses. I have to hold it out a little bit.
You want to borrow mine?
That's okay.
But you can see, especially on the white ones, how fried that is. So all of the electronics in the walls are going to show this. I sent you a quote that came in this morning to rewire the house.
I got the copy of that.
So you have that.
Do you have any outlets that are currently not working?
Well, some of these have been replaced. The electrician, like this one came out of this wall, and I kind of think this wall is the big problem. I've been checking for heat here because we've seen some heat problems here. And last night, this got really hot. I think this is where the wood smoke's coming from, is this wall.
Okay. Do you see any current, smoke or heat have you seen any flames or smoke currently?
Well, if I had flames, I would have had the fire department out.
All right.
One of the reasons I've stayed here is because I want to be able to call the fire department if that starts, and it's going to at some point. I mean, this is Russian roulette, like playing with fire right now, literally.
Just out of curiosity, I'm just trying to kind of understand what happened.
Yeah.
So, with the neutral failure, are you anticipating that there was failure in your electrical lines and that there was a breach of the insulation into the wall? I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts are on what happened.
I think it's been a 5 or 7 year problem because that outlet 7 years ago, right behind down below that picture, that quit working. When the neutral got replaced, it started working with nothing else being done. I have ongoing little tiny electrical problems over the last 5 years.
Okay.
Well, when it finally broke, everything was acting up. I mean, I had gremlins in everything in the house, every single component.
When you say gremlins, is it
things would
things
shut
were
off,
not working
or
when
the
they
stove,
were working?
Yeah, you go to cook something on the stove and the whole thing would shut down for a minute or two and then come back on power. The TV would shut down for a minute or two and then it would depower itself. And it just, and it was in everything in the house. So I felt like there was a supply problem. And that's when I called the electrician to come out that I paid for.
And that was after the neutral failure when things were reconnected?
No, this is before. So
okay.
I called my own private electrician I paid for. I think it was Home something. And they came out and they did a reading at my breaker panel. And he says, Deb, this is not balanced. So I knew that we had a supply problem. So, and I didn't have a phone at the time. In fact, this young lady right in here, she really helped me out. She because I was online trying to like get help and using Twitter and Facebook and everything, and she picked up on that and she called repair, and next thing I know, you know, Chad, your repairman's knocking on my door at like 5:30. I'm like, thank you, Haley. She's like a superhero. I'm telling you, this lady, she's somebody that you need to promote because she's a really, really good.
I'll make note of that.
No, I'm serious.
I don't have control over.
This is not my boss.
No, I know, but I just want to put it out there.
I'll pass that along.
I think it's
She's
important to
great.
catch people doing things right, and,
Yeah,
and she does a lot of good things. Do you guys want something to drink, by the way? I've got
Oh,
7-Up and
I'm
Pepsi and water. Okay. If you want something, please let me know. So repair comes out to Chad, and he comes out, and that's videoed, and I think
I
sent
saw
you
the video.
link. So
yeah.
he comes out, he does a load test, and sees the like 169 to 077. You walk out in the backyard to look at the power drop, and we could go out there while you're here. And he's like, yeah, you can see because the neutral does this arc, and it's, you know.
It was just going out into nothing.
Yeah,
Right?
and so he's like, I have to pull your meter because this is a major fire hazard, Deb. I'm like, okay. So we didn't get that resolved until almost 11 o'clock that night. And freezers are off, fridges off, everything's off during that time. And I of course I left everything closed, but he was a really big help, Chad was, and he was a good communicator. So we got that done, and then I started getting more problems, and I started getting...
So the issues with the television and the intermittent power was what was triggering you to realize there was a supply problem.
Right, and we got it fixed.
And you had an electrician at that time come out?
Yes.
Okay.
And so then I still had some other problems. They were smaller though. And so I called Roth Home to come out, and he spent about 5 hours here, and he's the guy that changed out this one. And we started just looking at outlets in different parts of the house, and we found this. And so I knew that we had a bigger problem, that there was damages in the walls. And so that's when I filed a claim with EWEB and started to try to work with you guys to resolve this. And
so you had mentioned that you'd had some electrical problems off and on for 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, little ones.
Little ones.
Yeah.
So, are you?
I think that.
Do you think that the neutral failure was?
I think it was a
way
long
back
term. I
then?
think there was maybe corrosion, and it got small enough that it finally broke.
Okay.
We have a lot of squirrels and rats here, so it could be something like that.
Do you have an idea for when you think that might have happened in relation to that 5 to 7 year period?
That's all I know is that like 5 or 7 year period, and it did start with that outlet. And I thought maybe I just had a bad outlet.
Okay.
So.
But in January is when the crews came out, right?
That was December 6th.
December 6th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they came out then. And then, so we had the neutral fixed, and I kept having small problems, but then I started noticing kind of this odor. And when I'm smelling, it's hard to smell. If you guys want to try to breathe the air, like exhaust into your mask and then inhale through your nose if you want to smell it. And that smell has continued to build with time. And so recently I just bought this air monitoring station, and I had this value was over 1,700 on one of the tests. This right here looks for formaldehyde and other solvents that are airborne, and that.
It looks like right now everything is in the green.
It's pretty
so
close,
it's,
and the house was open at 1 o'clock, and I closed it. So, and I think too that this gas is kind of stratifying at a certain place. I've checked the floor, checked the ceiling, and in between, and it seems to be right here. We'll go look at the other rooms because the bathroom's really high right now. My bedroom's high, and then the
Do you know what the comparison to the inside quality of the air versus the
actually,
outside?
because I've been sleeping out on the patio because the air's been so bad. And I've got I'm gonna sneak past you here. Set this over here. Well, let's see if this gets us a reading.
Okay.
I set it right down there on my sleeping bag, and I got high readings there too. And I think it's because the gases are coming out of the walls to the exterior as well.
Have you checked in the middle of the street or anything like that?
I went out in the yard and they came down. So
okay.
They come down to almost zero. So I think it does stratify. I had some pretty high number. This is the first place I checked was in my little basket here with all my meds.
That looks like it's almost nothing there, right?
Yeah, but it's this one here. Yeah, it takes a little while for it to acclimate.
Okay.
To get a good reading.
I was looking at online because it kind of triggered my interest when you sent those images. And
yeah, well, I can send you the link for it. It's on Amazon. It was $100. Oh, actually, Matthew has it because I sent him the receipt. It was $99 to buy this.
I was actually more interested in the data that would be providing, and was
that's
curious
why
what it was.
I made a video the other day showing my readings because they were higher than they are today, and so I made a video of that walking through the house and showing you what I had discovered because I know that we're not going to see everything today, but heat is something that does provoke formaldehyde to come out more. Okay. But I had been talking to Ken, and I'm like, I can't understand like why and when it's happening.
That's got to be really frustrating.
It is, and
because you want to feel safe and secure in your home.
Well, and you know, being disabled as a Lyme patient, you don't need anything else on you. Yeah. It's a big burden already. And I've been having like shortness of breath, and my throat and lungs have just been raw, and headaches and like nausea.
The throat is funny, and my watery eyes. I don't come very often anymore.
Are you starting to feel it?
Yeah. I was thinking about going
you really can't smell it. It's got this kind of caustic effect on your throat. That's your first sign, but it's kind of odorless, really. I had the fire department come out and scan.
Did they discover anything?
No, they couldn't find any one place. And it's because it's the whole house is the problem. It's all of the wiring or smoldering like that in the walls. And when I talked to Jeremy at Doug Palmer Electric, he said, we could spend hours trying to diagnose which run this is, Deb. He says, but it would cost more to do that than it would to be to rewire the entire house. And so I'm like, well, what do you think as a professional? Because I wouldn't live here. He said, you know, this house is dangerous right now.
So I think one of the things that, from a claims perspective, is we have to do an analysis to determine if it was EWEB responsibility or if it was maybe pre-existing conditions. And that's
here's
really
a question.
hard to do.
Who else is supplying power here? Nobody. It's only EWEB. There's been no generator hookup here. I've been here 26 years. I've never had this problem.
But
I mean, I'm trying to give you as much evidence as I can to process a claim, and I'll work with you on that front. But I've heard a lot of Ken saying we're not responsible BS, and I'm not going to listen to that conversation.
And I guess it's, you know, my role is to really understand what the circumstances were and to try to get some kind of resolution that we can both agree to.
Well, the resolution is the scope of work that I sent you. I emailed you that.
I got that list.
That's the resolution that I require, and I'm not going to back down from that. The formaldehyde gets in everything. I'm concerned now that even the food that I'm eating is encrusted with this crap. I mean, I have a medical appointment with my doctor Monday to deal with some of my new symptoms. This should have been handled a long time ago. You're putting somebody who's already endangered or at risk with immune damage in further risk by messing around for 3/4 of a year. And I know that's not your personal responsibility, it's the company overall. But there's nobody else that's supplied power here. There's no solar system, there's no generation going on here, anything other than EWEB. I can't reach your lines if I wanted to. So there's no other responsible party.
So I guess there's a responsibility from the homeowner for their electrical system, and
and there hasn't been problems. I mean, obviously, if I had thought that it was EWEB from the start, I would have called repair before I called a private contractor electrician to come out. But I knew it was my responsibility, so I called and I paid him for that. Okay, so I've been responsible. This is not, you're not laying that on my shoulders. I'm sorry. That's not acceptable.
But that's my responsibility to make that determination.
And then we'll go to court over it, I guess, because at the end of the day, there's nobody else responsible. My house was in sound working condition beforehand.
Well, it sounds like you had some issues for 5 to 7 years prior.
Because we had something going on with the supply. Let me ask you this. When EWEB came out, twice they came out, They put in a remote read meter, and then they came back and put in a smart meter.
Mm-hmm.
Did they do a voltage check for the incoming voltage?
I don't know what the practice. If
I can tell you, no, they didn't. So that to me sounds like your liabilities exist because you guys didn't check. You have systems analysis in your control room. You should have identified a massive voltage spike in this line. So I think there's liabilities on your end because EWEB hasn't performed those things. They haven't protected me. And right now, my focus is on the scope of work, get my house fixed. If we go to court, it's going to be bigger. Okay? And there's a part
I'd
of
like to avoid that at all costs.
I understand, but I'm just saying, for me, that's an
us.
option. And I tell you, the next option for me, Sarah, is that you will buy the house and get me out of here. Okay, that's the extreme. But I don't feel safe in my home. I am scared to death that it's going to catch fire. And having to be here in the house to protect the house because you guys won't come and de-energize it and move me to a safe place. Because everybody's speculating and saying this party line crap of, oh, we're not responsible. There's no evidence.
So
there's a whole video series that shows the evidence.
So what you're describing, I think, is the crux of the issue, determining responsibility.
Yeah, and you have tons of evidence to show that it is EWEBs.
So I haven't seen any evidence that would require it be our responsibility. And what you're describing is, one perspective. We have the analysis our team has had a different analysis. And so one of the things I've talked about with the team is perhaps we could get a third party to do analysis.
If you want to propose somebody, send me that in an email.
So we could do that. I was also suggesting that if there was a party that you could trust, and I'm not talking about necessarily an electrician, but like an electrical engineer, and we would pay for that. And so we could have them come in and do
You guys need to get me out of this house immediately. I'm telling you, Sarah, this is job number one. Okay, priority number one is protect me and my health. Okay, number two, protect my house from fire. Okay, number three, we can go down the road you're talking. But number one is to take care of my health and safety. Number two is to stop further damage to my home. Those two things have not ever been a focus of EWEB. Okay, my attorney's ready to go to court. And I don't want to do that. It's going to cost you guys a lot of money. I want the house fixed so I'm safe. I want to shut this place down, get it de-energized, and move me out of here. Because it's a massive health risk.
So I alluded in my email that that's not our practice, to move someone out of their home and to de-energize a house. That's well beyond what we would normally do from a claims perspective. And
this is probably not a normal circumstance. You know, the one thing that your people have spent time talking to my attorney about is how rare this is and so on and so forth. And I don't care about any other house except this one. I don't care that this doesn't always happen. It's happening here. Okay? If I've got to come up with the money to have this place rewired and show up at court with all these wires that are burnt from the walls, you guys are losing right there. I mean, you have to look at this reality-wise. And you really got to sit down with your board and have a conversation because, now I've got air monitoring going on and it's showing the toxins in this home. And you do research about wires that get hot and what's kicking off of it. Formaldehyde and solvents and crap. That's what I'm breathing. So we're back to take care of Deb's health and prevent the house from burning. Those are the priorities.
So
would you want to live here, or your kids, or your family members? Would you want to live here?
So nothing that
my friends here, they're homeowners. They would not
want to visit.
See?
So nothing that I've observed, just in being here, has indicated I don't smell the toxic smells that you're
it's
describing.
pretty odorless.
And so
that's why you need
that's
air
hard
monitoring.
for me to see that there would be concern. The air monitoring that you've just
Let's go in the other rooms.
Sure, we can go in the other rooms, but I don't.
You know
see
what? Go
anything
hire an air monitoring company to come in here. But I'm telling you, I should not be sleeping on my patio in order to preserve my health. Okay, I should not be walking out to the garage 8 times a day just to make a couple meals for myself because I don't have a refrigerator. I shouldn't have to tried to struggle to open a big 2-car garage door because the opener's fried. I have to take flashlights every time I go to the garage because all the lights are blowing out in the ceiling. When I walk out in the shop, you plug things in and sparks fly. None of that stuff happened before this. Okay? None of it. And I had the electrician with me when we went out to the shop and sparks were flying. He witnessed it. So, I'm telling you straight up, you got to get moved out of here and we got to turn this place off. And then you can go do testing, whatever you want to do. But you've got to preserve my health and safety. That's job one. And if I'm gone and these walls catch fire and I lose all my personal stuff in a fire, I am not going to be someone you want to deal with. Because that's coming too. This is getting worse by at least every 3 days. It takes another step up in how toxic it is and the problems here. And I've been documenting it. I have all the emails between me and your people. It's all been documented there too. I'm not asking you to make a decision right now. I'm telling you, a court battle's coming. It's pending. It's looming. Because this is a situation that you guys have the ability to mitigate, and you're arrogantly refusing to do that. Okay?
I would just like to restructure that. I don't believe I'm being arrogant at
No,
all.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying the company perspective.
Yeah, but
that's not personal for you.
That is my body of work, the claims team. And what I'm trying to do is better understand the situation, and I'm trying to get some resolution. And so I hope you're not seeing that I'm being arrogant. I'm just trying to...
Ken has been very arrogant. Let's go look at some of the other rooms.
Okay.
No, this has been a terrible ordeal overall in dealing with EWEB. Turn off some of these heaters now. And I closed some of the doors to try to keep some of the fumes in these rooms. I came in here to go potty the other day, and the numbers just skyrocketed. But that lower left is the one that's the worst. So I put a fan in here to be able to circulate the air, to dilute the problems. And this is in the video too, to show you what was going on.
Is there a level that you consider to be unacceptable? Is it 0?
How much formaldehyde do you want to breathe?
Well, I would assume that there's probably some...
Well, that's a false assumption, dear. Sorry. That's not... You see, you're trying to draw from straws out of the air. And you're saying, well, I would assume... Well, you can't, okay? There's no safe level of formaldehyde and solvents.
Which one of these is showing formaldehyde?
The lower left. This one that says HCHO. Have you Googled that number?
I Googled all of those numbers, and I'm not a chemical expert, so
but
I looked to see what some of
formaldehyde. You go Google
standard rates were.
Overheated wiring, and the first thing that pops up is formaldehyde. How much of that do you want in you while you're alive? I mean, they put it in you when you die, but you don't want it in you while you're alive.
I guess I'm just wondering what a realistic from just... If you were outside, what if there was?
Well, we can go out front and test when you leave, and I'll show you. It's different.
Okay.
But the other day, we were down here in the red, and that's on video.
Okay.
Okay. It varies, and it's a lot more active when there's heat, which is why I warmed up the house.
All right.
And right where I sleep, it was one of the places that I tested the other day. I'll turn this heater off. And like I said, that's why I made the video. Because I don't know exactly when this happens.
Yeah.
But it happens every single day. I know that. There's not a day that goes by when I start to feel like sore throat and my lungs start aching. My heart rate goes up and I get headaches. I put this on and the numbers are astronomically high. I don't want to breathe formaldehyde on any level, personally. And like I said, the house was vented up until 1 p.m. I probably should have left it closed up, but it was warmer outside than in, so I thought we'll bring some warm air in, heat up the house without using heaters. I mean, I've got fans. This fan, I have to open up that window, put that fan on high. There's a fan up front there in the front of the house. I put that on high. The one over by this door I put on high in order to vent the house. And I have to sleep with those on all night. The roar of fans. And the one out front, I don't have any security because that window's open. That bothers me, okay? That's the only way that I've been able to sustain living here, is to have those pushing fresh air into me. I've been in a column of air under that big fan and then had readings really high, just 4 feet outside of it. We're in unhealthy now, the yellow. You know, hire a professional air analyst to come in here and set up professional devices and monitor it. I'm good with that, but I'm telling you straight up, you gotta get me moved out of here. You cannot leave a Lyme patient in these circumstances with mold and volatile gases like this. It's like running over disabled people in crosswalks. We don't do that in our community. Let's see if it's going to give us something over here. And in the videos and stuff that I've done, I'm not standing there breathing over the thing either. I'm standing back, you know, giving it space to operate. I'm not trying to affect this. And I'm not anything other than an honest, authentic person. There's a lot of people that will attest to that. I'm not a liar.
You're very passionate and you're very concerned, and
I am.
I recognize that.
Thank you. But I'm not a liar, okay? I'm not trying to take advantage of EWEB. I'm not trying to upgrade my house because of this incident. I want my house restored to what it was before this incident. That's it. I don't want more beyond that. And I've been accused of that by some of EWEB's people, and I resent that because I'm not that character.
So let me just assure you that if it's determined that it's EWEB responsibility, we will 100% take care of our responsibility.
Please tell me what that process is beyond this then, okay? I need to know what has to happen in order to get there, to get EWEB off of their throne of denialism. What does that happen?
So I have a lot of say in that.
Okay.
And I have a lot of ability to make things move forward. But
Please
before I do that, I want to have a plan that we can both agree to, because I don't want to spend a lot of time and resources on a strategy and then still be in a conflict. I'd like us to have a plan that we can move forward.
All right, I sent you a scope of work, okay? Because formaldehyde settles on things, kind of like dust, okay? It gets into your fabrics and stuff. So as an overall plan, I want professional cleaners to come in to wipe down and clean all those things so they're ready to be packed by the movers. Then we have a mover come in, which you have a quote for, pack up everything, because electricians are like, Dad, we have to have access to all the ceilings, all the outlets, all the walls to run wires. They can't have furniture in here. You can call them at Dog Palmer and talk to them about the process. You have the quote.
I hear what you are asking for. I'm not sure that we're aligned on that's the scope of work that EWEB is responsible for.
But it's part of the fix. You can't fix this without moving things out of here. Okay?
Until I am confident that it was EWEB responsibility for the issues that you're describing with
okay, well, we're making the assumption that it is, and so we're talking about the process, okay?
If we determine that that's the case, then let's plan approach to get the work done, right?
Right, and I'm discussing that with you and what the intricacies are from each of the trades that I spoke to, okay? Yeah. And the knowledge that I have, and why I'm justifying the scope of work that I sent you, okay? So things have to get cleaned, they have to get packed, taken out of here, okay? The electricians have to come in and do their work, replacing outlets and switches and all the wiring, new fixtures, everything's been fried in the house. These things are emitting gases too. It's not just the wires in the walls. And so electricians got to do their work. Well, then we've got to, deal with what you got formaldehyde on the walls and the ceilings. I've done research on it. Those have to be sealed, which means paint. Okay. And I'm not asking the walls be scraped and recoated and stuff, just paint to seal them. Okay. And with electricians done and everything out, painting will be easy. The carpets this is high quality Berber carpet. The carpets are full of formaldehyde too, and chemicals. We've got to find a way to deal with that. And the easiest way is to replace it. So, and then when those things are done, have my things brought back out of storage and placed again. And then because we've had all these tradespeople in here, and they'll be working without a mask, the house has to be cleaned to make it safe for me that there's no COVID for me to come back to. Okay, so that's my approach, and I think it's a logical one. And I've done the research. That's the right way to handle that. Okay, and that's where I'm coming from on my end. And I'm not trying to take advantage. I'm seriously not. But when you look at the toxins in this house now, because of this 9 months exposure, there's no other way to go. These have to be managed. Now, if we have to do some kind of testing or something to see what's in the house, so be it. Let's do that, okay?
I think that I see, based on what you're describing, a couple of steps that we need to go through. The first is, I would suggest that we hire a third-party, independent, no interest in the outcome, consultant that can come in and determine the responsibility of and the impacts of the neutral failure. And then, based on that, then we would determine if there are toxic levels in your home that need to be remediated.
I'm sure there are, based on what I've experienced.
Then we'll cross that bridge.
To me, it's part of the package. I'm convinced that it is. Okay, that's just me.
And
if
we have a third party who can confirm that, then we'll cross that bridge. But I'd like to start with those 2 steps first.
I'm not opposed to that.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to air quality testing. I'm not opposed to a third party. If you want a third party, I'd like to see, you provide multiple sources for that I can investigate. Okay.
I would be on board with that. And you could also propose a few as well. If you have anyone that you've either worked with or might be familiar from a community perspective, we could work together to figure out an agreeable party. And then I would want to make sure that we agree to whatever the analysis shows, that would inform the outcome.
Okay. I think well, I'll look at that.
Okay.
I'm not going to say I'm going to do that for sure right now, but I'll look at it.
Well,
I'll
consider it and let me know.
Yeah, I'll consider it. You send me at least 3 contractors that you're proposing, and I'll look at it.
Okay.
I have no problems with having more conversations with you about this.
Okay.
But I've got to sternly warn you, my health is in jeopardy here. And I cannot stress that enough. So
we're coming into the weekend. Let's reconnect on Monday. I'll work Monday and Tuesday to get you the names of some
here's another thing that I told Ken that I need help with. Mm-hmm. I need you guys to give me some billing credits for all this heat and cool that I've been blowing out of the windows for months. Okay, I'm spending more than $200 a month right now to you guys, and all the time I'm here, 26 years, I've never had a $200 bill. So there needs to be some billing adjustments for all the excess power because of this incident. So I would suggest that alignment with the other items that you've provided information on, that would be something you could certainly submit a claim. I've already done that. You guys have it. Okay. All this stuff you guys have documentation on. Okay. I have some activated charcoal that's coming in the mail today for me to take to help detox out these chemicals. I sent the bill for that to Matthew as well. Okay. These things all need to get looked at. So I have a list of the items that have been submitted and the status of them. I don't think it makes sense for us to go through those line by line. You want to go out in the garage and see that there's no lights out there and where I have to go to get in the fridge? I'm welcome to see anything you'd like to show me. What do you need to see? Do you want to go? I mean, energize the shop and you can go out there and try to plug stuff in and see if the sparks. If you'd like to show me, I'm that's what I'm here for, to see anything that you'd like to show me. It's dangerous.
then I would suggest maybe that's
not
the
do it,
best
right?
choice, but if
Those
you'd
lights
like
right there are the ones that were purchased. You know,
Yeah.
you guys have told me that you're going to reimburse me for those, and it's been more than 7 months. And I asked you in the email last night, please come with your reimbursement check.
We don't. EWEB just doesn't have the flexibility to arrive with a check that comes through our banking service, so I couldn't do that today.
Well, I was told it would be here in 2 weeks. Okay, that's like $1,000 of my disability money, which is more than 65% of my month's income. That's a lot of money to me. Okay,
So I
it's
did
been
confirm
7
that
months.
it's been requested and it is in process. You should receive it very soon.
I've been told it was 2 weeks, and that's already come and gone. I'm just telling you, this is the reality of what I've been dealing with EWEB. Everybody says they're going to do something, they don't. The lights don't work. This is the light switch for the garage. Nothing comes on. Oh, watch your step there. Haley, if you want to close that door behind you, please. So I have to come out here in the dark and get into my chicken refrigerator to put produce out here. This freezer right here has not been working right. I've had to turn it up all the way. And I'm afraid I'm going to lose everything in that. I've got turkeys and chickens and all kinds of stuff in here. Here's the panel, the breaker panel.
So, just since you're pointing out the panel, I understand you've been working with Haley potentially to work on some grants.
She authorized a grant to replace the door that we just walked through because it's a non-insulated door.
Okay.
It's a hollow core door. She gave me a grant for that.
Okay.
The meter-based jaws here
Yep.
have been a problem. She gave me a grant for that.
Okay.
There was one other thing you gave me a grant for. There were 3.
It was the electrical repair and the insulation. Those are the
Insulation.
2. The insulation is
For-
what covers the door.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know the third one off the top.
I think there was. I have the email.
Okay.
So this is where you guys came out and twice changed the meter and didn't check for voltage. So this is also where they did that test, and they want to replace this entire. I've had 3 electricians tell me that this power drop has to be replaced. The whole thing, in the meter base box. So if you want to go to the shop's out here.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Look, I'm not trying to be argumentative and get into shit with you personally. This is not personal. It's personal to me because EWEB is not taking care of this. That's why it's personal to me, okay? And with my health on the line, I would be more tolerant if I didn't have fumes that I'm dealing with. But we got wires smoldering in the walls. Smoldering, okay? That's the reality. And that's not good. It's not good at all.
Thank you so much.
And I've been, Miriam and Howie can tell you, Miriam's got a key to the house. She's been over here taking care of me in the last 4 years. I've been largely bedbound. I haven't been out doing projects and working around the house. I don't have, it's like, you know, can you drive your car when the gas tank's empty? No. That's what my metabolic system's been doing. So I don't have the margins to deal with this right now. I really don't. This is a huge burden to me. And it's why there's stuff around the house like apple picking up hasn't gotten done. And the shop is turned off right now. There's no power. There's a hole in the wall there that goes, I'll show it to you, that goes through here. And this goes out to my chicken shed. So the chickens can have lights and heat in the winter and things. I've been leaving my flashlight on them in the winter because we haven't gotten resolution. I can't energize the shop. This is the outlet right here that I went to go plug in. There's a power strip, okay? 90% of the shop is on power strips. They're all blown, okay? So I came out and I unplugged them when I'm not using them. So it was unplugged. When I plugged this one in, that's the one that threw sparks. okay? And the electrician was standing over here, and it just made this huge pop and sparks were flying. And I'm like, we got to shut this place down. But the good thing here is that I don't think my equipment is damaged, okay? And I have not made a claim for that because I'm honest, okay? I did want the power strips replaced. Those are the new ones on the kitchen table. That's why they're out, okay? So those need to get installed out here. But the lights, there's fluorescent lights that were up here. None of those are working. There's a light on the outside of the shop. That's not working. The switches are blown.
For the lights, I know some of them have been replaced.
Well, some
is it the filaments in them that are blown and they just need the lights
it's
replaced?
The fixtures.
Or you think it's the fixtures?
The electrician said that he wants to pull off some of these boards up about this high, all the way around the walls, so everything has to come out of here so they can work once again to rewire the shop. And that's part of the bid that you got also, is to rewire the shop. Just so you know that that's included, okay? But part of the moving, the shop has been included. There's not anything excluded at this point.
So the items that you had ordered but haven't been installed yet.
So $900 and something dollars.
What is your plan? Are you hiring a handyman or contractor or something?
Well, I'm gonna have to hire somebody, but I can't hire somebody if you guys won't send the reimbursement check out like you haven't done. Right? That's my money that I need back, and that would help me go buy a refrigerator, for example. That's my biggest problem, other than air quality, is this idea that I've got to run in and out of the garage every day, and
so if you can get a quote from somebody to do
For-
those installation of the garage door and the installation of the lights.
the
We
lights
can-
are in the electrical bid.
Okay.
The garage door I can get a quote on.
Might be helpful just to carve those out because those are things that we're committed to at this point.
Well,
But
I mean, that's
an idea.
You have to realize you're assigning me a job to somebody who's not able, okay? So you're putting more burden on me to perform, and I understand that I've got a role to play here. But when I go to get electrical bid, and I've told them, like, these are all the problems, and they've already quoted it, I probably don't need to go do that again, okay? I mean, if you need 2 quotes,
Yeah. Like
we'll do that.
the quote that
but-
came in this morning was really a lump sum of a whole bunch of. I don't know if you have a breakdown of the details, but
You can call Doug Palmer Electric and ask for that. I have no problems with that. I will call them and authorize it if that needs to be.
I can just let you know that that's not something that we would facilitate because it's your home. You would need to be available to schedule and define exactly what.
And I've
the
done that
schedule
so
is.
far. And honestly, the reason that hasn't happened earlier is because I have been just too sick and disabled to do it. I've been sleeping for 6 to 8 hours during the day and all night. I'm not reliable. I cannot be relied on to function. I mean, my doctor's got me on some new treatments and some injectables, but I'm telling you straight up, I have very little in the gas tank. And that's just the reality, okay? The quotes that you've gotten so far has been really a lot for me to get done.
Okay.
But I want this fixed, okay? And I'm working my ass off to try to do that, okay? I'm trying to give you what you need to authorize this, because I understand the process, okay? I worked for PG&E down in California. I worked for AT&T for 4 years. I understand utility companies. My mother worked for Southern California Gas Company for 32 years.
Sounds like you have some
Well,
good exposure to that utility. We're hoping.
if you look right here, see this?
Uh-huh.
When she was working for Southern California Gas Company, this is what they had out at the time. Look at the phone numbers, 5 digits, with a walnut
Interesting.
prefix, okay? So I understand utilities. And I really am working to get you what you need. And my smoke alarms are not working. So I bought these 3. I have one kind of wired in the bedroom, but they've got different pigtails. They need to be wired up. I don't have the energy to do this. So I took one off my boat and put on the top of the speaker up there that's battery operated. I've been scanning the walls for heat. I got a fire extinguisher here and a charged cell phone. So that's all I can do right now. And I've been blowing air through the house to try to clean up the air.
Yeah.
And that's a freaking job. You know, every time I go to take care of the chickens, I've got to crawl over and move that big ass fan. And then the roar. And then it's just, you guys have me in such overdrive right now. It's not funny.
Well, hopefully we have a plan. We'll connect early next week and get the analysis, and then continue to work through the
You gotta
information we
get me, you gotta
already
get me
have.
moved out of this house. I'm serious. That's got to be our number one focus. Get me moved out of this house and de-energize the house. We can negotiate beyond that, but I have to be safe. And I'm not now. The house is not safe. Those are priorities, okay? So that's what we got to work on. Job number one. Get Deb safe, get the house safe. The only way the house is safe is to de-energize it, okay? The only way for me to be safe is to not be living here.
Okay,
And if I leave,
I've heard you, and I understand your plan and your strategy.
okay.
Um,
I think that has to be our primary focus right now, is my health and welfare and making sure that the house doesn't burn down.
So, I hope you'll just listen to this information I want to share for just a couple of
I'm gonna
minutes.
sit down real
Okay.
quick.
So, I'm sure you're aware EWEB is a public utility.
Yes.
We're owned by our customers. Every dollar that we spend on a claim for liability is money coming out of our other customers' pockets. And so I take that job very seriously when it comes to what...
Well, you can take my money and apply it to my house, okay? Let's do that.
But what I'm saying is...
Probably theirs too. They would probably agree they want my house fixed with their money.
I have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that the money we spend is our liability and our responsibility, and that we have good documentation for why we're spending the money. And
You've
so
got videos. You've got all kinds of documentation, hon. I don't understand what you're looking for, grasping out of the sky beyond what you already have. I'm serious. How are you going to prove otherwise that this is anybody else's problem except EWEB? Okay, if that was your job to prove that this wasn't EWEB, what functions would those encounter? That's your question. Because that's how you're going to mount a defense against me. And you should be looking at it from that perspective. If you guys are going to prove that this is not EWEB, what evidence do you have? Okay? There's a video that shows that your network failed. Your own lineman, in his notes, that I have a copy of, shows that it was your system failure. Your own lineman. You can tell that to any of your people that you're concerned about. Look, Deb had all this documentation that she's presented. I feel it's a justifiable claim. She's a valued member of our community. I've taught apitherapy to tens of thousands of Lyme disease patients all over the world. I got a free roof because of my support of Lyme patients and teaching them apitherapy and how to heal themselves. And let me tell you, I got the sheets on it, the comments that went in during that contest. The roofing company said, Deb, we've been giving away roofs every year in the community for like 30 years. We've never had the overwhelming support that's been shown for you. Okay? I don't worry about just me. I worry about other people too, and I help them. I get contacted. I got 2 emails last week. An infant that got bit by a tick, and another woman in her, about Haley's age, that got tick bit. They're both depilated, okay? They both got referrals to my doctor. And some information about apitherapy, along with my personal cell phone to help them. I'm an asset to this community.
And I appreciate that, and I don't want to diminish that at all. I just want you to understand where my
your shareholders
responsibility
and
is.
your public. Let me tell you what. When this goes to the media, and the news comes out and does an article on this or a piece on this, how does the community going to feel? They're going to be outraged that you guys will let this go this long. Really, that's another factor that you need to consider here. If this gets into the media, you guys are going to get trashed. I'm sorry, but that will happen. I'm just putting some fodder in your head for you to think and balance and counterbalance here. But if the word goes out that you got somebody in your community who's helped people all over the world, that won a roof and has gone through 9 months of this shit, this is not going to look good for you guys. You're going to have people in this community pissed off, calling EWEB. And then your shareholders are going to go, why didn't you take care of this woman? Okay? So I'm just saying that. I don't need you to comment. I'm just saying, when that comes down, you're not going to look good. Okay? That's a consideration too. And that's a big one. Because this is an untenable situation that I'm trapped in. And I'm trapped here because EWEB won't make the move to take care of me, to move me out safely and to shut down the house. You have an obligation of like do no harm, like doctors. Do no more harm to me. Do no more harm to my house. This formaldehyde crap, this is so much worse than it was back in December. And it's because of lack of movement from you guys. From kicking the can down the road in a denialist fashion. And all the email strings attest to that. I just want you to consider these things when you're looking at the whole, okay? And this is not personal for you and certainly not Haley. But I'm telling you, this is a huge factor here that you guys are not in a position of do no harm because you are harming me.
So I just want you to let you know, I do hear you. I hear your concerns. I'm here because I've heard your concerns, and I want to get resolution for you as soon as we can. I want.
Well, that would have been like, by January 1st, if you guys cared about me, that's when help would have come.
Well,
okay.
I'm only here and now. I can
right.
only do what I can do right
now.
now.
And you're here because I escalated things. Because I had trouble with Matthew. I asked for his boss. Then I got Ken. And I've had to deal with his arrogance and crap, honestly, for months now. And so I finally said, oh, who's your boss? And got you involved. And I've written to board members. And I'll write to more board members if we don't get this resolved. This will expand.
And you have every right to do
I'm
that.
a loudmouth when it comes to this kind of crap.
I just think that if we can work together, that's going to be our best path forward. It's going to be best for me. It's going to be best for you. It's going to get resolution sooner if we can.
Resolution means turning the house off and getting me out of here. I can't emphasize that enough.
I hear what you're saying.
That's got to be your focus, is to get me out of here where I'm safe and get this house shut down so that we're not doing more damage. Those have to happen, Sarah. Okay, they have to.
So I'm not going to make that decision today.
I understand that, but I'm just telling you again, that has to happen here.
So, I think I've heard what you have to say. If you have anything else other than what we've already talked about.
No, we can stay in touch on email.
Okay.
I prefer that because it's documented, honestly.
Okay.
Like I said, my trust to EWEB right now is a negative number. And it's a big negative number.
So if, let's connect early next week about electrical consultant, and then...
I want one person to be working with on this. And I mentioned that in my email. I want one point of contact. I don't know if that's you or somebody else, but I want one point of contact. I don't want it to deal with all these other people. Because we need continuity here, where everybody's talking on the same page.
So I'm out all of next week, but I will make sure that this continues to make forward progress. I'm at a conference, so I can still check emails and make sure that we're moving things forward. I will have to have support from my team on this project because my capacity to...
I want you to send me an email that tells me what the steps are to get me into the realm to complete the scope of work that I sent you. I want to see what it's going to take to get from right here into that scope of work. I want that written out, okay? I want to know exactly what it is that you need to define that process, okay? And make it abundantly clear that if you do these 8 steps, then we're going to be here. And yes, we will pursue your scope of work. I need that, okay?
I can write a summary of that plan.
Yes, please email that to me.
Provide that to you.
And I can tell you right now, I'm very likely to go check into a motel right now because this house isn't safe. I can't de-energize the whole house. I've been also, you see there's cords on the floor here? Mm-hmm. Because I have been shutting down circuits in the house. and they're all on right now. But like this whole kitchen side has been shut down, which includes the garbage disposal. So every time I need to run that, I've got to go outside and turn the switch on and then turn it off again, because these are the outlets are the worst. And so I've been trying to de-energize as much as I can to protect the house as much as possible and to reduce the fumes. And I can't keep living like that. I mean, this is just such a burden for me, between going to the garage, having a moldy refrigerator, having circuits that are shut down. This has to be expedited. And I think you understand the urgency here. This is not appropriate way for somebody to live.
I recognize the situation.
Sleeping on the patio.
I've seen it. And so I think that the path forward to the quickest determination of what our plan is as far as resolution is to get verification on EWEB's role.
We're here right now in the land of denial, where EWEB has buried this thing. How do we get to my scope of work? Write that out to me. I want to see that.
I will clarify that body of work and what the decision factors will need to be to get to that body of work.
I have to have that written out, because this is the thing. EWEB said, Deb, you got to do this. And I go and I do that for them. And then they move the goalposts. And I'm like, oh, we need this. Then they move the goalposts. Oh, we got to have this. Then they move the goalposts. I've been dicked around on that about 20 times now. Okay? And I have no patience anymore. That's why you guys are on a big negative number with me, is because you won't quantify exactly what needs to happen. Okay? And you've got a whole litany of estimates in your inboxes right now. And get me a frickin' check for the stuff that you agreed to reimburse me. It's been beyond 2 weeks.
So I understand the check was issued on the 29th of July. We're at the 8th of August, so it should be here very, very soon. If you could confirm when you receive it, that would be helpful too, so that
I will.
We can make sure.
I've had mail theft problems. I took the mailbox out. That's why it's on the porch. Right behind Miriam there on the floor is a metal secure mailbox that just arrived this morning, and that's going to get installed. Because I'm not having any more mail theft going on here. We've got new neighbors, and there's been problems. I get that mail service where they scan all your mail and send you pictures of it in your mailbox, and there's things that have been in there that didn't show up, so I know something's going on.
So just let me know if it doesn't arrive, or if it does
I
arrive.
have been watching every day, and I'm not seeing anything.
Okay.
I've had nobody from EWEB say, Deb, we cut your check and it's coming out to you. Nobody said anything. I'm not hearing anything back.
Okay, I hear that.
I'm a good communicator, but when people have me shut down and aren't giving me a definitive answer as to how to get the house fixed, then I'm going to be really hard to deal with. And I'm kind of there now. I'm holding back a lot of my anger. No, I have 5 strains of Bartonella. You don't want me to be pissed, because I turn into a 900-pound gorilla, and I don't have control of my chemistry. So I'm working really hard to work with you guys.
I appreciate that.
This is a tremendous burden to me. And you guys should have said, 8 months ago, Deb, let's come out and walk through your property, if that's what you needed. You guys have been deficient in this whole process. And that's primarily Ken, because he's been on this isn't our responsibility bandwagon. Mine shut down. I'm the authoritative male. You must listen to me, Deb. You don't matter. You're a gnat. Go away. That's his attitude. That's why I asked that he not come today, because he's not looking for resolution. He's only looking for denial. And I thank you so much for taking him out of this process, because I don't need that. I don't want to have a face-to-face confrontation with that man, because there's probably nothing nice going to come out of me.
Let me ask this question. So Matt was the original claims analyst.
Yeah, you want to talk about Matt? Okay.
I just wondered if he's someone who you could continue working with, or if we.
I think he's a pansy, to be honest. I'm a professionally trained cost estimator. I went to school for 5 months up in Portland, and then later I became a general contractor, which you can see right here in my jacket. I have a contractor's license still. Matt's estimates that he sent me, he'll put like the garage door opener, but he won't list labor. He won't list other shop supplies that are consumables like rags and solvents and sprays and stuff, lubricants. Those all have to go into a job. All jobs. You go to your auto mechanic, they're going to change your oil. There's always a shop supply number at the bottom. He doesn't see that. He's like, I can't authorize that. It's part of the reality of building things or fixing things. Please go look at my estimate, okay? It's very thorough. I offered to settle this with you guys for $30,000, and I was told to fuck off. Okay? Now, the electrician came in, and we're looking at 60 to 80,000 right now. Overall, from what I've seen for this whole thing. This is not going to be a small number, and it's because of the contamination we got going now. So, I'm pretty good at analyzing a job. I used to do a dozen bathroom models every summer because contractors didn't want to touch people's bathrooms because they couldn't estimate them. I estimate. I have a 193 IQ. And the Navy tested me with 1,000 people. I have more mechanical ability, all but 2 of them.
Wow.
Okay.
Sounds like you have some good experience.
Yes, and so I am viable when I'm giving you guys information. Right? I do research. I do look at all sides of things, and I've done that. I have performed my due diligence.
So I'm just spitballing some ideas here. I'm not promising anything. One of the things that you're describing, I think, is project management kinds of issues.
That's what you're asking me to do right now. Getting quotes and stuff is part of project management.
So I guess one of the things that I'm just
I don't know that Matt has it, to be honest.
Well, what I'm thinking about is having a third-party project manager help support this body of work.
That's not a bad idea to take burden off of me.
I think that could help with some of the challenge in the communication and frustration. Then
I don't need a job to be assigned to me. I just don't. I'm telling you straight up. There are some days that I'm good and other days that I'm on the couch all day. But I can't lay on the couch and get rest and recovery when I can't breathe. Okay.
But I guess my question is, would that be something you'd be open to having somebody else kind of be a liaison?
I'd be willing to
between
look
us?
at it.
Okay.
If it looks like it would be an asset of the project, yeah.
Okay. I don't know exactly who that would be. I haven't ever done that approach before, but
you know, the registered guard went and they, because I started up my company and I can show you the article if you want to see it. But the registered guard did an article on me, and I told them I went to school up in Portland. It was part of my vocational rehab before my first spinal fusion. I stood up in class for 5 months to get through it, so that I could get back to work. Because I was taking 22 oxycodone a day for the pain, because I had spinal damage. But I knew I had to get a job so I could get surgery. And Earl was the guy in charge of the school, and he'd been there like 35 years. He says, Deb is probably the smartest, most capable person who's ever come through the school. That's in the Register Guard article. Okay.
That's pretty cool.
I'm a very valuable person when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I've done a lot of work for you guys. That's why I say I've done my due diligence on this. I've written contracts. Okay. I've dealt with legal problems before as a business owner. This is not my first rodeo. So I'm telling you, get me out of here and shut down the house. Those have to happen. We can talk about the rest of it later. Those have to happen.
All right. Well, I think I have my marching orders.
Thank you. And please don't take this personally, because you haven't been involved much. This is the crap that you've been dumped in your lap right now. And I understand that it's a convoluted mess in some ways, but it's got to get fixed and unwound. And being accountable to your customer of 26 years here should matter for something.
Well, what's most important to me is that we get resolution and that we're both satisfied with the outcome. So that's what I'm hoping for, and
that's why I wrote up what my expectations are, and I sent those to you.
Okay, I have them.
They have a copy of it too, by the way. They've seen it. So these are my witnesses. They're like my family here, and at the end of the day, I hope this doesn't go to court, but if it does, it's not going to look good for EWEB, because I've done my due diligence. I know what it's going to take to fix this. I just got to get you up to speed. Right?
I understand your position.
Okay.
So
let's try to leave as friends, okay?
Sure.
We're going to work on this.
Excellent.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Good seeing you.
Thanks for having us.
Good seeing you, Haley.
Yeah, you too. See you later.
All right, my dear.
All right.
like, did we get anything to come out of this?